for many, the prospect of hunger and starvation will worsen over the next coming months into winter, as Russia's invasion of Ukraine wages on. Not just in Ukraine, but countries in the Middle East and in the Horn of Africa and the Sahel region are heavily reliant on Ukraine's wheat and cereals, and the reverberations of Ukraine's slashed supply are being felt in global food prices. Ukraine has and is the breadbasket for so many countries, and it has had to cut more than half of the land planted this past spring thanks to Putin's invasion. In addition, in June, Russia had blockaded Ukraine's ports, preventing Ukraine from shipping over 20 million tons of grain, one of the many international violations that Russia has waged since the beginning of its invasion. This is certainly not the first time that Russia has tried to starve Ukraine to death, both economically and culturally. Only 19 years ago, Stalin inflicted a devastating famine on Ukraine known as the Holodomor, from the word holod, famine, in which he forcibly withdrew food and collectivized land in Ukraine, starving between 4 and 7 million people to death, among them my ancestors. The Holodomor, in which up to 7 million people starved to death, is a historical genocide that Putin refuses to acknowledge ever happened. Russia has inflicted centuries of assault on Ukraine's identity because Russia's vulnerable economy is dependent on one natural resource, gas. Instead of liberalizing its markets after the fall of the Soviet Union, it doubled down on its gas economy and securing gas pipelines. And Putin continues to assault Ukraine because Ukraine remains a distinct people with a distinct culture and, yes, with its own distinct language, Ukrainian. While many Westerners and many Russian speakers have previously claimed Ukraine and Ukrainian as a subset of Russian culture, much like Putin has wanted them to believe, they are gravely mistaken, and this war would not be occurring if that were true. The Ukrainian people are fighting this war. I mean, individuals like ourselves with their bare hands alongside the military. The Ukrainian people are not comfortably sitting by while militaries fight this war for them. The fight is as much about economic sanctions and weapons as it is what individuals are doing at a grassroots level. Over 4,000 civilians have been killed, among them children. Tens of thousands of war crimes have been documented, too many atrocities to imagine how they will forever alter the minds of a generation of children, some 57% of whom have been displaced by the conflict. Citizens, from ballet dancers at the National Opera to my friends' cousins, are patrolling streets and helping children escape. This grassroots effort also has global roots. Global networks of individuals are emerging in a way that even 50 years ago could not have been a possibility. I'm connected with a group of academic economists under econ4ua.org. Our efforts range from supporting one another in our individual connections to Ukraine to organizing an economic plan for reconstruction. In addition, there are some local tremendous efforts in SLO going towards Ukraine that I want to bring attention to. One of them being Sam Slishman of Slishman Pressure Wraps. He sent over 3,000 wraps and 54 rescue kits to Ukraine. You can check him out at pre-r.com, and also harprescue.org, humanitarian aid and rescue project led by Burke Bryant. They specialize in extraction, search, and rescue. That is all I have. Slava Ukraini.